What is going on, everyone? My name is Andy. Welcome back to another FPL video. In this one, we're going to do a final thought / game week preview hybrid / a little bit of a team selection as well. Plus, we'll slightly talk about captaincy, but probably not too much because, let's be honest, Mo Salah is in absolute unreal form right now, and it's so dangerous to go against him that there's no chance I'm doing that anytime soon, or at least not this week. The videos are back to normal now, so I've got the green screen back. I'm not sat in a Premier Inn hotel room anymore. That's where I've been for the last few days. That's why the videos looked a little bit different. So we haven't done the game week preview, so I'm going to go through some questions in just a sec. I've got my team, which I'll also go through. Some of the flags have been removed, like I said. It's tricky. It's tricky. We'll come on to my team in a minute. Let's do some of the questions, right? And I think some of the really big talking points, like Foden, which we will answer a question on, but him and Chilwell, I'm going to go through when I talk about my team. Raphinha as well. And it's difficult. It's difficult. So first question, what about people still clinging on to Ronaldo? I'm happy to replace him, but I'm also happy with my team. So should I wait? So I think we had a very similar set of questions last week about Ronaldo. So if I just bring him up here. So obviously people want to get rid of him because that was the plan. And the plan went wrong. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it went wrong when Lukaku obviously got injured. Played Liverpool last week. We won't talk about that too much. It was a disaster of a game. But does now have Watford away and Spurs away in the next 3. Man United obviously playing poorly. I don't know if they can play any worse or have a worse result as they did against Liverpool for the rest of this season. My hope would be that Solskjaer kind of lays down the law a little bit and changes some of the players that have been playing. You know, players like Lingard, Sancho should be starting at the moment as well. You know, even just to get him up to kind of speed, right? Whether or not Spurs away is the game to do that, I don't know. But obviously, Man City at home is difficult. It really depends who you're going to move for. Like, you could move for Vardy, but he's got Arsenal at home. Is that much better than Ronaldo against Spurs away? I don't know if it is. With that Watford away game and then a good run of fixtures coming afterwards, you could hold him. I think he's one of those players, right? If we just go back to the question a sec, if you're happy with your team and you've got him in it and there's no one you really want to bring in for this week in particular, bearing in mind bringing in Harry Kane for Ronaldo is I'm trying to stop using the word sideways, but Kane at home to Man United, is that much better than Ronaldo away to Spurs? I don't know if it is. So I feel like you could just keep Ronaldo for this week and just reassess next week. And if something comes up that you want to sell him for someone cheaper and to put that money in the midfield, you can. But I don't think he's one of those players that's ever going to need to be forced out of our teams. So if you've got him and the plan got changed because of Lukaku or whatever it was, then I think the same answer as last week. I would just keep him, right? There's plenty of players you could sell him to, but if you don't want to sell him, keep him. There's nothing wrong with it at all. And if you still got him by game week 12, who knows? Could be a massive differential as long as he plays. Don't see why he wouldn't, but let's see. It's after the international break. Next question. Is it worth selling Raphinha to Foden if he does play? So that's if Raphinha is going to play. He's just as likely to score against Norwich if he's playing, and then I can roll a transfer. Really, I should just go through this when I talk about my team. But this is super tricky because Bielsa has said that Raphinha is likely to be available. So he mixed him in with, I think it was Shackleton and Firpo. Either way, not really FPL options. It's really Raphinha that we're worried about. He said likely to be available. Not likely to start. Not definitely fine, definitely fit. Likely to be available. Now, I don't think Bielsa kind of plays mind games with us and stuff like that. If I had to put money on it, I would say that he's going to start. So then the question is Raphinha to Foden worth a move? So There's a few different ways to think about it, right? One, who's more likely to score you more points this week? Foden. Who's more likely to score you more points over the next 4 to 6 game weeks? Foden, right? But he's also more money. So if you make that move, what's that going to stop you doing? And are you actually in a position where you'd rather do that transfer with another player and can't afford it? Because that's the position I'm in. I don't really want to sell Raphinha, but he's the only real way I can get to Foden without selling a player that I don't really want to, i.e. Mo Salah or Vardy for a hit. And so that is playing on my mind quite a lot. But if I think about it, if Foden, and obviously this is going to differ as well if you have to take a hit or not, which is where my predicament comes in. If you can do this move for free, then look, of course Raphinha could score really well against Norwich, one of the best fixtures you can get. But Leeds haven't been playing that well. And not to say that they won't score against Norwich, because again, it's a really good fixture, but Bamford's still not available, and I think that really is hurting them a bit. Gelhardt played really well last game when he came on. Maybe he'll start, maybe he'll get a few more minutes, I don't know. But I feel like if you're giving me one of the two for the next few weeks, and I didn't think I would say this a few weeks ago, but Raphinha or Foden, I'm going to take Foden every single time. So maybe the trade is worth it, even if you think Raphinha is going to play. If you've got to take a hit, then that gets a little bit trickier, and I'll come on to that in a sec when I talk about my team. But yeah, I feel like you could do it, because the thing, if I just bring Raphinha's fixtures up here, there is some good ones in there. Like, I think the two best fixtures after Norwich are probably the two in game week 14 and 15. Then it gets really tricky. Chelsea away, Man City away, Arsenal at home, Liverpool away. This is not a nice run at all. Now, of course, the Leeds attack last year was so good that you wouldn't necessarily actively go out of your way to play one of these players in these fixtures, but you wouldn't have minded holding on to him either. And I still stand by the fact that I think he is really good value. You don't get many better players than him at that price. And also his personal numbers, I'm trying to get the words out, expected data, XG, XA, etc., are still pretty good. Leicester at home's not too bad. Spurs away, Brighton away. These aren't awful fixtures, but obviously Norwich away, Palace at home, and Brentford at home are probably the three best, and two of them come right at the end of this run, just before a really horrible run. So I got... This is one of those videos where I'm just going to be thinking out loud, and hopefully it helps you. If I was wildcarding this week, would Raphinha be on my wildcard? I don't think he would. And that might tell me something about what I think about his long-term prospects. And again, there's loads of different ways you can think about this, because if you've got him playing against Norwich, and if you've got other things to prioritise, then fair enough, you keep him. And you don't really need to make the move. You could make it next week. The reason most of us don't want to do it next week, or at least the reason I don't want to do it next week, is because Foden's playing Man United away. And I know how bad Man United have been. I know Liverpool absolutely smashed them. And Man City could definitely do the same. But it's still not a week where I want to bring Foden in. I want to either bring him in now, or I want to bring him in the game after Man United, which I think is it Crystal Palace away? I can't remember what week it is. So game week 11, Man City away, and then it's Everton at home. So that I'd rather bring him in either this week, for Crystal Palace at home, or next week for Everton. The week after at Everton at home. So that's why I just don't know. I just don't know about this move. If Raphinha plays, am I going to be annoyed that I got rid of him? Probably a little bit. But I think we have to accept there's still some minutes doubts there. We don't know if he's definitely going to start. I think he probably will, because they do miss him when he doesn't play. And how many times has he been flagged and just played anyway? But this is a tricky move. Long term, I think this is the move. I think if it's only a choice between those two, you do pick Foden over Raphinha. But there is obviously a big additional cost at that, right? Raphinha is a lot cheaper than Foden, so it depends what you're going to do with that money. Like, for me, I'd rather get rid of Saka, but I can't. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So, is it worth selling? The answer is, I don't really have a definite. I don't really have a definite answer for that. If you're asking me who's going to score more points this week, I'm going to say Foden. There you go, if that helps. That helps your long-term move. Ditch premium. So with attacking premiums underperforming and attacking defenders consistently doing well, should big at the back plus Salah be the meta tactic? So the only thing to kind of say with this is the meta changes quite a lot in FPL, right? I go back to kind of a few weeks ago, around game week 4, 5 and 6. Everyone was going nuts about big hitters. Everyone had to have Salah, Lukaku, Ronaldo. Look how that's gone. Lukaku's injured. No one's got him. People got Ronaldo. They want to sell him. A lot of us have already sold him as well. We don't have him. And the landscape has changed. But who knows in a few weeks when Man United's fixtures turn. Doesn't look like Solskjaer's going anywhere anytime soon, unless he gets hammered again this week, which I doubt. But we'll see. We'll see. You never know. Spurs, they did it, was it last season or the season before, when they beat us 6-1? But I don't think Solskjaer's going anywhere right now. So who knows whether we'll want Man United players. And it's very easy to say right now, we're never going to want Man United players again for the rest of the season. But all it takes is a couple of goals from either Ronaldo or Fernandes. Then suddenly you see the fixtures and then the tune changes, right? Everyone was looking at Spurs players after Newcastle, and they didn't do so well against West Ham. Then suddenly they're back, not out of favour, but not being talked about as much, although we are going to talk about them in just a sec. But they got a really good fixture run coming up. So I don't think, I've got my team set up with big at the back and Salah, right, is the main players. But I could easily upgrade Vardy to Kane and still have Salah and still have those 4 big defenders as well. So I don't think premiums are completely dead. And if you look at Spurs' fixtures, again, now is not probably the right time to buy him. Man United at home. You could buy them for Everton away. It's not the worst fixture. But Leeds at home, Burnley away, Brentford at home, Norwich at home. Spoken about these fixtures a lot. This is the time to buy them. Game week 12 to 15. And so I don't think the idea of not having any premiums apart from Salah is a completely done deal. I think going for Son, going for Kane for those fixtures could be a nice use of money. It could be a nice differential because a lot of people won't go for it. If you have Kane, you could then move to Ronaldo. If you put the money into midfield and have Son, you could then go to Bruno Fernandes if you've got a bit of leftover money. And obviously a lot of us have got Vardy, who was frustrating last week because he went off for the one-pointer. But Arsenal at home, Leeds away, Watford at home to come, could still do really well. And I would call him a premium too. So to answer the question, right now, yes, having at least 3 big attackers plus maybe 1 extra who you can rotate with the midfielder looks pretty good. And obviously you have to have Salah. If you haven't got Salah, what are you doing? He's essential. I said this earlier on in the season, way before we started talking about permanently captain. I know people hate using that word. They hate hearing it. Salah is essential. Get over it. He's brilliant. If you don't own him, what are you doing? So there is a meta tactic, but that will probably change soon because it always does. So be prepared to adapt, I would say. And the fact that most of us have got like a Vardy and a Salah or a Salah and a Son means we're not quite over 2 premiums anyway. So a couple of goals, everyone will change their tune again. And for this one, I guess I've kind of just answered it. Is it too early to go for the Son Kane double up, even though Kane looks off it? Again, wait till the fixtures change. That game week 12 to 15 looks pretty good. The only thing I would say is it looks, to me, going by the current meta and going by the way people are setting their teams up, it looks very difficult to have Kane, Son and Salah. This goes back to earlier on in the season when everyone wanted Lukaku, Ronaldo, Salah. Now, obviously, that's a little bit more expensive than Kane and Son. Right? Let's just take Salah out of the equation. Kane and Son versus Ronaldo and Lukaku. Kane and Son's a little bit cheaper, so maybe it's workable, but I don't think it is. Not with how people are setting up. So you have to choose one or the other. Now, that question gets a little bit more difficult because usually I would pick Kane, even though he's more expensive because of captaincy. That's all going to come down to whether you fancy going against Mo Salah. So I guess to quickly touch on captaincy this week, just go for Salah. It's that easy. You could go for a Man City player, I suppose. They could do pretty well this week as well. But I think Salah's the player. It's just so dangerous to go against him in a week like this. The only times you could really look at going against him in this next bit of a run is maybe, and I'm only saying maybe, I'm just putting it out there, game week 14 and 15, 2 away games, Everton away, Wolves away. I'm not saying he won't score because he probably will because he's ridiculous. And if we go to game week 14, Spurs have Brentford at home, and I know Brentford have obviously been playing well, so maybe that's not even that easy a fixture. So maybe you just captain Salah against Everton away. Fair enough. I will probably do the same. And in game week 15, if you have gone for Son or Kane, they play Norwich at home, so you could make a case to go for Kane or Son if you wanted to against Norwich at home instead of going for Salah away to Wolves. But again, I think Salah would have had to have blanked quite a few times between now and then for people to be really put off. So you will be going against the crowd again, but it is against Norwich and it is at home. So you could see Spurs scoring kind of 2, 3, 4 goals in that one possibly. And then if you get it right from Son or Kane, that could be a nice differential. But again, to kind of go back to the question, I wouldn't go out of my way to have one of these 2 players just to captain them, because I think you just look at Salah's fixtures and it's just absolutely ridiculous. There's not too many times in that run where you wouldn't just be happy just going for him. So I don't think you have to go out of your way. But I don't think the Son Kane double up is really worth it, to be honest with you, because I just think it takes too much money out of our teams. I just don't think it's that viable right now. That could change, and game week 12 is only a couple of game weeks away. Things could massively change. Salah could get injured and then the whole landscape changes completely because people have money to burn. But as it is right now, I just don't see it. But one of them I like because fixtures matter and we know how good both these players are. And I don't buy the Kane down in tools, wanting to go to City, sulking thing. He was fine against Newcastle. He'll be fine in the easier fixtures. Game weeks 12 to 15 looks like the time to jump onto one of them. It's all going to depend on your team structure. Some people it'll be easier to go to Son, and he's a bit cheaper as well, especially if you're not going to captain one of these. I probably would go for the cheaper player if it's easier to fit in, but Kane's an option as well, especially if you've kept that premium spot open. Okay, let's look at my team. Let's talk about Foden and Chilwell, right? And there's a few different ways you can go about it. So this is my team. I'm benching Livramento. Get over it. I'm benching him, right? I think Azpilicueta, Trent, Laporte and Cancelo are all better options. They all play for better defences. I still don't rate the Southampton defence for clean sheets, even if they're playing Watford, but this is an away game. And I know Livramento is attacking, but he's not that much... Do you know what I mean? He's not more attacking than Trent. He's not more attacking than Cancelo, etc. So he's being benched, and I've got Saka first bench currently. So straight away... I had 4 flagged players, like a lot of you probably did. Azpilicueta, Mbeumo, Raphinha, and Vardy. Now, Vardy's fine, apparently. Azpilicueta's been back training. He should be okay. And then Raphinha, obviously we know, likely to be available, whatever that means, probably fine. And then I think with Brentford, it was kind of I think they were doing another assessment today, like on Friday, ahead of Saturday. So a lot of predicted... So Fantasy Football Scout, Neil does the predicted lineups. He's got all 4 of these players starting. So, look, this team does not need a hit. It doesn't need a hit, but I kind of want to do it. So, this week, by not moving early, Foden and Chilwell have both gone up 0.2 million. Now, I stand by the fact that I didn't want to make that transfer early in the week, right? Because I had lots of flags. You know, if Vardy hadn't been fine, then suddenly that's Vardy to Tony. That's a lot of money to spend elsewhere. I'm glad I didn't get rid of anyone else. And before press conferences, I just didn't want to make the move. So they've both gone up again. Now, I can still afford, with nothing in the bank, bearing in mind there is a chance Azpilicueta, there is a chance that Raphinha drops in price. I can afford the Azpilicueta to Raphinha hit still with nothing in the bank, but I won't be able to afford it after this week. Now, this is where it gets complicated. Not complicated, but okay, this looks good, and everyone's going to be like, just do it before you get priced out, right? And I fully get that. Foden's great, Chilwell's great, right? They're both great options going forward. Anyone that's wildcarding right now is having both of them. I feel like I'm a little bit behind in that aspect. But this money in the bank doesn't really matter moving forward because I'm probably going to bring Tony in. And it doesn't matter which one of these 3 I bring him in for. I'm going to save a lot of money. It's probably going to be for Antonio, but I'm not confirming that this week. That's next week's problem. And so I will definitely be able to afford this move in the future. It's just how much more will they have gone up and how many points will I have missed out on in the time being. So I am still tempted to do this hit. Right, I'd have to do it tonight before the deadline stream tomorrow. But I'm kind of torn between, am I just talking myself into it? Because I can sit here one of 2 ways. I can say, yeah, I think Raphinha is going to start. I think Azpilicueta is going to start. A lot of people that are predicting Azpilicueta to start are predicting to play right wing back, which is almost as good as Chilwell. I know Chilwell is more attacking, but if Azpi plays right wing back, that's pretty decent. And Raphinha is playing Norwich, and if one of them doesn't play, then I've got a really good bench, so I don't need to make the move. The other way to look at it is, well, Azpilicueta will probably play, but he could play right centre-back instead of right wing-back. Reece James could play. Everyone's predicting him not to, but he could play. Azpilicueta could miss out. He's only just back from a little bit of an injury. Maybe Tuchel plays it super safe. Maybe Raphinha starts on the bench. So I can kind of frame it both ways, even though deep down I think they'll both play. So it's tricky to take the hit. But the thing is, with Chilwell, I get the best attacking defender from there. And with Foden, I probably get the best Man City asset right now. And I get them moving forward. I don't miss out on any more price rises. And I don't know if my team, even with the -4, I don't think I'll lose that many more points, to be honest. I think Chilwell and Foden is not so much better, but it's better than Azpilicueta and Raphinha. I think some of the -4 hit is kind of made up a little bit. And also it kind of just gets a couple of transfers out of the way that I want to do anyway. Like if I don't do it this week, I think it's game week 12 till I get Foden in, and I'm just a little bit worried about not owning him. The other option, I can't do Raphinha straight to Foden because of the price rise, but I could just not take a hit and do Azpilicueta to Chilwell. And a lot of people have asked me about doing like Diaz or Azpilicueta or someone like that to Chilwell, and is it a sideways move? And I think sideways move is something that I thought about a lot, right? So for anyone that I guess doesn't know the term, it's usually like you're basically trying to say out loud that you're swapping one player for another player that's just as good. And is it worth it? Because they play for the same defence maybe, and they both get the same points from the clean sheet. But I don't know if it is sideways. You're getting a much better attacking player moving forward. Like Diaz is great. Azpilicueta gets pretty good minutes, but neither of them are that attacking, especially when they're both playing centre back. Whereas Chilwell is obviously not expecting to keep scoring a goal a game, but he is more attacking. And so I think it's one of those moves that you'll put off, because it's always going to be sideways, like it always is. If you don't do it this week, Azpilicueta to Chilwell doesn't get any easier next week, or the week after, or the week after. And the longer you leave it, the worse that move probably is. So I don't think it is sideways. It's just whether or not I think 2 free transfers next week is better. But right now, and I've been at this stage already this season, and given the amount of flags this week, maybe this is going to be famous last words. But the only move I really want to make next week is Tony in anyway, for one of Antonio Jimenez or Vardy. And so, if that's the only move I've got planned, I've got a deep bench. It probably doesn't make too much of a difference if I make a move this week. Like Azpilicueta to Chilwell, I've got a better player. So I am tempted to make a move this week. I think I could easily roll. I could easily roll a transfer. If any of my players miss out, even if 2 of my first 11 miss out, Livramento and Saka are okay. But I think I want to be a bit more aggressive, especially when everyone's wildcard a little bit more recently and they're getting these players in. So I think I'm going to do Azpilicueta to Chilwell. So for anyone that's thinking of similar, there you go. I guess actions speak louder. I'm not going to promise that I'm definitely going to do it, but I'm seriously considering it. I wouldn't be surprised if on the deadline stream tomorrow I've made that move. Because I think next week, even if I got an injury, I've still got the squad to deal with it. The key question for me, and I won't make this video last any longer, or too much longer, is whether I do Raphinha to Foden. I don't even know what my gut's saying. I think my gut is saying do the move. But if Raphinha starts against Norwich, you just know it's such a good fixture. But it's away. There's no Bamford. Maybe I should. I don't know. I'm talking myself into it. I almost feel like this video is better on editing. Because if I edit it, I would go away and think about it too much. I'm just thinking, if I look at my team tomorrow and it's got Chilwell and Foden, I feel much happier about that team. And I think, yes, I've got to get away with no Raphinha this week. But going forward, I don't think it's as much of an issue. And at some point, I'm going to do the Tony move in. So Saka to Raphinha sometime down the line could be done. I guess the only thing that I don't like is that if I could do the same moves for Saka out, I would definitely keep Raphinha. So I'm not really actively looking to get rid of him. So that's the only thing. So I kind of get stuck with Saka, but he does play Watford at home next week. So it's not even that bad. So yeah, I guess I'll leave it there because I don't think I'm going to be able to get out any extra knowledge bombs or anything like that that's going to help you make your move. But to answer all the Azpilicueta to Chilwell questions or DS to Chilwell, I don't think it's that sideways. I don't think you have to make the move, especially if you've got bigger priorities or you've got a different move in mind next week. But for me, the only real move I want to do next week is Tony in. So could I play a little bit more aggressive and get the more attacking defender? Azpilicueta could outscore Chilwell tomorrow, and then I look like an idiot. But I feel like I'd rather go for it and look like an idiot than not go for it and Chilwell to haul again, if that makes sense. And Raphinha to Foden, that's going to be a gut call. I've got to be honest, right, I've been travelling this week, hence like the Premier Inn stuff and the different setup, and I am absolutely knackered. So I feel like I'm going to make it. I cannot be bothered to think about this anymore. Azpilicueta to Chilwell, Raphinha to Foden, I can just feel it. But I'm not going to guarantee it. Like, it's your team. If you want to do that move, go for it. I'm going to think on it a little bit longer. Did that even help? Probably not. But there you go. That's it. So thank you very much. Give it a like. Hit that subscribe button. Captaincy, I don't even know if there's anything to talk about. You could go for Foden. You could go for Antonio. But let's be real. We're all going for Salah. And obviously next week I'll be back to normal. So watch this transfer tips, team selection, game week preview all at the same time. I don't know about captaincy video. I don't know if there's any point in the moment because everyone's going for Salah. But I'll do another final thoughts video next week. Leave any questions you got in the comments below. I'll try and get back to as many as possible. If you did enjoy it, give it a like. Hit that subscribe button if you're new around here. Like I said, hopefully that helps. I'll see you tomorrow for the deadline stream.